Welcome to the Urbana Athletic Department preseason parent meeting. Hopefully by having the meeting in this manner, it will fit into your schedule better. We'll try this for a while, and I'll be glad to hear what you think. You will still be required to attend each individual sport meetings, but those meetings can be held at the convenience of the team. Please take note that you are responsible for all information covered in this video. There are numerous benefits to high school athletics: discipline, decision-making skills, time management, leadership skills, and work ethic, just to mention a few. I'm sure you agree that all of these benefits are qualities a business is looking for. Since you are accessing the online registration to view this video, you obviously are aware that you need to register each child for each sport played. The athlete is not permitted to participate until the online registration process is completed. Other requirements prior to participation are an updated physical. A physical is good for 1 year from the date it was taken. 8-18 will send you a reminder email 30 days before it expires. The physical will need to be turned in to either the coach or the athletic department. The other required document is the emergency medical form. This document will need to be turned in to the coach. It's not a bad idea to make a copy of these documents before turning them in. Other documents you'll be completing in the registration process are the required OHSA forms, the concussion information, insurance verification, and drug testing consent form. These documents are accepted electronically in the registration process. Be sure you read through them carefully before accepting them. Transportation fee is $100 again this year. Each athlete will need to pay a one-time fee of $100 per school year. This allows them to be able to participate in as many sports as they choose for that school year. The fee must be paid in full before they can participate in a scrimmage or game. This includes both home and away games. If you are a junior high athlete, you will pay your fee to the junior high office. If you are a high school athlete, you will pay your fee to the high school office. Ed Wisner is our ATC and is very good. His hours vary depending upon the season. He does have a calendar on his door that let people know days and times he's available. The training room is located across from the band room. I encourage all athletes to seek out Ed before seeing a physician. Ed can let you know if you should go to a doctor or something he feels that he can work through. He will not put your child in danger. If you do decide to go to a doctor, and please pay close attention to this, if you go to a doctor of any type, you must provide Ed with a doctor's note before you can return to play. On the doctor's note, have the doctor be specific about what you can or can't do. A lot of times they may say, take 2 weeks off. Okay, what if you have a hand injury? Does that mean you can't condition, do some running? Or if you have a leg injury, does that mean you cannot lift your upper body? So please ask your doctor to be specific about your return to play. UHS athletics will follow the OHSA guidelines for concussion management. What that means is, if your child is showing signs of a concussion, they will automatically be removed from participation. This can be in practice or in a game. If they show signs, they will be removed. Once removed, the child will need to be cleared by a doctor before starting the return to play protocol. The return to play protocol we use is the exact same one that you can find on the OHSA website under Suggested Guidelines for Concussion Management in Sports. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We also do impact testing for our varsity contact sports like football, soccer, basketball, and wrestling. While these tests are currently not made mandatory, we highly encourage all athletes in these sports to get the impact testing done. We'll set up the times for each sport to have the testing done. It's up to you as a parent and the athlete to make sure the athlete shows to have the testing done. Inhalers and EpiPens. If your son or daughter needs an inhaler or an EpiPen, you should complete the following. You should complete the paperwork that we need that allows them to carry these items with them or allows the athletic staff to carry them for them. It is vitally important that the child notify the coaches of their situation, where these devices can be found. The paperwork needs to be turned in to the athletic office. Drug policy. Our policy is to randomly drug test 20% of our athletes each season. We submit the registered athletes to the testing company, and they provide us with the list of athletes to test. If we have a suspicion that an athlete might be involved in drugs or alcohol, we can choose that they be tested. Keep in mind that this policy is in effect year-round. If you have questions about the drug testing policy, you can look at the entire policy in the athletic handbook that is found on our website. Study table will be held Monday through Thursday at the beginning of each grading period. Requirements for attending study table are be passing at least 5 credit hours from the previous 9 weeks and have below 1.67 GPA. The athlete then must attend at least 2 days of study table or academic aid through interns. At interns, the athlete must have at least a 1.67 GPA to remain eligible. The athletic department, by mail, will inform the athlete's parents of when and where the study table will be held. Sportsmanship. Sportsmanship is vital in the interscholastic athletics. Sometimes we get caught up in the moment and we may forget that we are parents of children participating in an athletic event. While everyone wants to win, including the kids and the coaches, we must remember that we aren't pro athletes or coaches and we'll all make mistakes. Let's cheer for our team, not against the other team. Cheer for great plays no matter who makes them, and to be a good sport. NCAA recruiting. We have an excellent website about college recruiting on our website. Many times I get asked questions about what do colleges look for. It's important for parents and athletes to know that only Division I and Division II colleges can offer athletic scholarships. Even so, rarely do these scholarships cover the full amount of room and board and tuition. Divisions 1, 2, and 3 schools can offer academic and need-based scholarships as well. Unless you're an outstanding Division I prospect, colleges look mostly at grades and ACT, SAT scores. Doing well in the classroom is your best bet for getting scholarship money. Let's say you're a good student, probably a low-level Division I or Division II athlete. You need to sell yourself to the colleges to try to get them to recruit you. Attend camps, send films. Remember that probably 5,000 other athletes are doing the same thing as you. Find a way to sell yourself. It's like getting a job. Ticket cost. Please take a moment to preview this slide to get costs for games. I'll go into greater detail about these costs on the next slide. Pre-sale tickets. To make this simple, all CBC football and boys basketball games, you'll pay $6 at the gate. However, we do offer student pre-sale tickets for $4. These student pre-sale tickets are good for all home or away CBC football or boys basketball games. The great thing is that Urbana will keep all the money sold for pre-sale tickets. Why support Ben Logan or Graham? Buy those tickets from us. All high school girls basketball, volleyball, and boys and girls soccer games will be $6 for adults, $4 for students. All junior high or lower level games that are held by themselves will be at $5 for adults and $3 for students. Wrestling prices vary depending upon the size of the meet. All sport passes. You can also get all sport passes. They are $75 for adults and $60 for students. These are good for any home event that is not an invitational or CBC or OHSAA sponsored event. These passes must be used by the cardholder only. You can also purchase 10 event passes for $50. Please take note of these websites as they have a great amount of information available to you. If you're interested in our athletic schedules, get on our athletic website. You can get individual sports schedules, weekly sports schedules, or monthly sports schedules. Bring out the monthly calendar to plan your month out. The CPC website is great for getting all the school schedules and statistics. It's a very good website. I encourage you to get on it and look through it. The OHSAA is the governing body for interscholastic athletics, and they have a ton of information regarding everything to do with how they organize sports and how they govern sports. When it comes to tournament time, I go to the Southwest District website to get tournament brackets and tournament locations and all the tournament information you'll need. If you are 65 or older, live in the Urbana District, and provide proof of both, go to the board office on Wood Street to get your senior citizens pass. These passes are good for any home event except for a few select Urbana events and CBC or OHSA tournaments. Kids who specialize in sports are becoming more prevalent, and I'm not quite sure why. Maybe the athlete only likes that sport and no others, and maybe the parents only want their child to participate in one sport in hopes they might receive a college scholarship. It's unfortunate if an athlete only participates in one sport. In order to get the most out of their high school experience, they should become involved in as many activities as possible. It doesn't matter if it's band, choir, the quiz team, or whatever. I encourage kids to become involved. This is the main reason I want athletes to participate in as many sports as possible. The following slides look at how colleges and the medical society feel about one-sport athletes. Kids who specialize in a single sport tend to be less active when they get older. Can you think of why? In this world of obesity, wouldn't it be a good idea to become as active as possible at a young age? 88% of college athletes participated in more than one sport while they were in high school. College coaches are looking for athletes. You become a better athlete by participating in as many sports as possible. Very few college coaches want kids who specialize in one sport. Burnout. Kids involved in one sport are more likely to become burnout and quit that sport. They lose the love for the game because that's all they ever do. If you love chocolate chip cookies and eat them over and over again every day, would you like them as much a year from now? Overuse injuries. Kids doing the same sport over and over again are using the same muscles, the same movement over the same joints. Eventually, this will lead to overuse injuries, much the same as someone might get carpal tunnel syndrome. How do you counter this? The more sports an athlete is involved, the more muscles are engaged, the more it can adapt to physical activity. Better overall skills. The more sports a person is involved in, the better they become as an athlete. Their body adapts to changes in their surroundings better, applying various different motor skills. So overall, the body can transfer these skills to various sports, and the athlete becomes better at a wider variety of sports. And this might have to do with why adult inactivity is less for those who are participating in more than one sport. UHS facts. We have some great athletes at Urbana. Plenty of them could have gone on to play sports in college. As you can see from looking at this slide, that a lot of athletes choose not to play sports in college. And of those that do, a very small percentage receive an athletic scholarship to play sports. If these athletes have the talent to play in college, then why don't they? Good question. For each athlete, the answer may be different. That is why it's so important to participate in as many activities as possible in high school. It's probably the last time the athlete will be able to play sports in an organized fashion. Scholarship. Sometimes parents think that if a child specializes in sports, they have a better chance to earn a college scholarship. They just focus on that one sport. I've been involved in high school athletics for over 30 years now, and I've seen it over and over again. The child who specializes burns out, stops playing that one sport. Yes, there are the select few who don't, but the majority do. Playing as many sports as possible give you the options. I like to use my daughter as an example for this. She grew up playing basketball, volleyball, and she ran track in the spring. Her first love was basketball. She loved it and was pretty good as well. She was being recruited as a basketball player as well. However, for some reason between her junior and senior year, she decided she wanted to play volleyball in college. Why the change? I'm not sure. But she wouldn't have been able to make that change if she wasn't involved in numerous sports. She did go on to play volleyball in college and earned an athletic scholarship. However, she also did very well in school, had a good ACT score, and got as much money for academic scholarship as athletic. With that being said, the majority of high school athletes are more likely to get money for an academic scholarship than an athletic scholarship. This slide was shown previously, but I thought it was a worthwhile show again. High school athletics have so many benefits in the real world. Take a moment to view this slide about why educational athletics. Is it just a coincidence that these successful people participated in interscholastic athletics? Parents' roles in athletics are extremely important. Part of the benefits of athletics is that a good is that good coaches challenge kids. They push them to be the best they can be, to work harder than they think they are capable of, and to be tougher than they think they can be. Sometimes a coach can say things that they feel will act as motivation to the athlete that the parent may not understand. If a parent reacts negatively to something that has been said or done without fully understanding what and why something was said, and begins to say negative things about the coaches, they may be undermining what the coach is trying to accomplish. If you, as a parent, don't like something a coach has done, I encourage you to find an appropriate time to speak with the coach and find out why, what was said or done, and what was done. Speaking negatively about a coach in front of the athlete is one of the worst things a parent can do. Sometimes parents get so caught up in the event that they forget that these are kids out there playing a sport because they really enjoy the sport. When a parent is yelling at their kid or maybe even another child, what good does this do? We only have so many years to watch our children participate in athletics. They should enjoy it, and we as parents should as well. Think about that. The OHSAA requires that every parent be part of this information session about the interscholastic athletics. While the first part of this presentation had to do with information regarding what Urbana feels is important for you to know, this section is what the OHSAA feels is important for you to know. Educators strongly agree that the more activities a child gets involved in, the better their high school experience will be, and the less likely a child will get involved in things they shouldn't be involved in. If you take a moment to read these statements and think about them, these are factors that can greatly benefit high school students. As Urban Meyer once said, it is not his job to prepare athletes for the next level. It's his job to prepare athletes for this level. Our coaches do the same thing. However, our coaches also provide the skill and instruction to prepare kids who want to go on to play in college. Our teachers in our classroom do a great job teaching our students, but coaches have the unique setting that classroom teachers don't have. They have the ability to teach things that classroom teachers can't because of the surroundings and the internal motivation of the athletes. We strongly believe that athletics are part of the educational experience. While math, science, and all the other educational courses are extremely important, we believe we are doing on our playing fields is very important to the educational setting. If an athlete needs to make up a test for some reason, see if it can done before school so they are not missing practice time. When they miss practice time, they are not only affecting themselves, they are affecting all the teammates that are counting on them. These next several slides will inform you of the basic rules and regulations athletes are governed by. Please keep in mind, you are responsible for being in compliance with these rules. At Urbana, we feel that the educational experience and the athletic experience is a vital part of the overall experience of being in school and preparing our kids for life after high school. Grades are very important. At Urbana, we have higher standards than what the OHSAA requires, as covered in the presentation earlier. The information you provide the school determines what your eligibility status will be. We can only be as good as the information you provide us with. However, if the information you provide us with is wrong, we may potentially have to forfeit games which will affect more than you. All incoming 9th graders and all students already in high school must pass 5 credit hours or the equivalent of 5 credit hours in the previous 9 weeks to be eligible for the current 9 weeks. Note, if you're in high school, physical education does not count towards these credit hours and is not used when determining GPA for athletic purposes. For junior high athletics, all incoming 7th graders are eligible. However, all 8th graders must pass 5 credit hours to be eligible. Note, physical education does count in the junior high. While it doesn't count in the high school, it does count in the junior high. The OHSAA requires that we check eligibility at the end of our grading period. For any student that is taking classes at a different location than Urbana High School or junior high, it is the athlete's responsibility to provide the grades to the athletic department at the end of Urbana's grading period. It's very important. We need these grades at the end of Urbana's grading period. Failure to provide these grades means that the student will be ineligible until they do provide the grades, and we are able to check them for OHSAA and Urbana's eligibility standards. Summer school courses do not count towards eligibility. Also, if you change your schedule, make sure you are taking at least 5 credits worth of courses. The athletic department recommends you take at least 6 credits every quarter. For high school students, you have 8 semesters of eligibility. Once you become a freshman or reach the have exceeded the junior high age limit, your semester clock begins. Again, you have 8 semesters of eligibility. For junior high students, you have 4 semesters of eligibility. Once you begin 7th grade, your semester clock begins. For high school students, once you turn 20, you become ineligible. For junior high students, if you turn 15 before August 1st, you are ineligible for junior high sports. However, you can participate in high school sports. At that time, your 8 semesters of eligibility will begin. As the athletic director, keeping track of this type of eligibility is a challenge. Parents and coaches' assistance with the number of semesters is greatly appreciated. Once the season begins, you cannot participate on any other team of the same sport during that season. For instance, if you are playing soccer, once the OHSAA official start date of soccer occurs, you can't participate, try out, train with a non-school program. This would have an effect on your eligibility. OHSAA states that coaches can't require athletes to participate in open gyms or weightlifting. While this is true, I do encourage all athletes to voluntarily take advantage of the opportunities our coaches provide. One of the reasons we are able to challenge for CBC championships is the amount of time outside of the season our coaches put in to help our athletes get better. We would not be able to compete if our coaches didn't provide that opportunity. We also believe that all the work we do in the weight room in the off-season lessens the chances of injury. Could you imagine the potential risk of injury showing up for football or any other sport without doing some type of conditioning prior to the start date? OHSAA has numerous rules about everything. If you ever have a question about the rules, I encourage you to contact the athletic department or get on the OHSAA website. And again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to call. Athletes competing for schools under the guidance of OHSAA are amateurs. If you compete for money or receive money or merchandise, you may lose your amateur status and become ineligible. Transfer students. The next 2 slides have to do with transferring schools. These rules are primarily for students who have started after beginning their freshman year. These rules do not refer to a transfer These rules do not refer to transfers that happen before you become a freshman. OHSAA tried to make the rules simpler by stating if you transfer schools, for every sport that you participated in the previous year at your last school, you will need to sit out 50% of the games. If an athlete transfers schools, you need to see the athletic director, or ASAP. There may be paperwork that needs to be completed in order to gain your eligibility. As society has become more mobile, the OHSAA understands that families move for work, family, and other considerations. They have put in several exemptions to the transfer rule. As was mentioned before, if you transfer, meet with your athletic director, and then they can see if you fit one of the exceptions. Anytime an athlete is involved in the sport, there's a potential for the athlete to get hurt. The athletic department wants you to know that our coaches go through extensive training in first aid, CPR, and concussions. We know how to recognize and deal with injuries. Plus, we have a very good trainer who will not allow your child to play when they shouldn't be playing. Before you can begin practice, you must do several things. First thing, you must register online using AT18 from Urbana's athletic website. Second thing, have an updated physical on file. And finally, have completed the emergency medical form turned into your coach. During the online registration process, you will complete all the other OHSAA required documents. The next several slides are dealing with concussions. As I spoke earlier in the presentation about discussions, we take concussions very seriously. If any of our coaches feel that a participant has been concussed, they will remove them from the activity they are in. A challenge that we have is that sometimes concussion symptoms don't immediately show. If an athlete is home and concussion symptoms appear, the athlete should notify our trainer. Also, if an athlete sustains a concussion outside of school activities, they should immediately let their coaches and trainer know upon their return to school. Once a coach, official, or trainer removes you from practice or game for reasons they believe are related to a concussion, you immediately must begin the return to play protocol. The first step in the protocol is to get a doctor's note. You cannot return to play. You cannot start the progression until we have a note from your doctor. The return to play protocol we use is the same one that you can find on OHSA website under Suggested Guidelines for Concussion Management in Sports. As I said before, if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to call. Once our trainer has the opportunity to speak with the athlete about a concussion, he notifies the principal and the school nurse, and if they feel educational modifications are to be made, they will do so. The OHSA does not permit any use of any form of alcohol, tobacco, or illegal drugs during contests. This goes without saying. The Urbana Athletic Department does not recommend the use of performance-enhancing supplements. A real challenge with these supplements is there aren't any safe studies on what the effects will be on adolescent athletes. The athletic department strongly believes that if our athletes eat a healthy diet and get the necessary rest, they will not need any supplements. The use of anabolic steroids or any other prescription drugs used to enhance performance is strictly forbidden by the OHSAA and the Urbana Athletic Department. There's no place in interscholastic athletics for these types of drugs. Being a good sport is part of the educational learning process we want all of our coaches, parents, and athletes to take part in. Our athletes learn so much from the behaviors of those they look up to. This doesn't mean that you can't disagree with a call. What it does mean, it's important on how you handle yourself when you don't agree with something. Remember, it's a game for kids, coached by people who are coaching not for the money, but for the love of the game and the enjoyment of coaching your kids. Have you ever been to a high school or junior high sporting event when someone goes ballistic about something that happened in a game? When reflecting upon what happened, how does this make you feel about that community? What people need to realize is that the actions of some reflect upon the entire community. Respect the game. Respect those kids and coaches who are doing their best and understand that officials will make a bad call. These next several slides will supply you with information about the members of the OHSAA as well as some of the things the OHSAA does for athletes. Each sport will have their own individual sport meetings. Parents and possibly athletes will be required to attend these meetings. Every parent will need to sign off on the team sports roles. Again, these are required for every parent before their child can begin a sport. If you have any questions regarding the information in this presentation, feel free to call the athletic department. I also encourage you to give us some feedback on what you think about this slide or this video compared with coming in and listening to me talk in the auditorium. Thank you and have a great season.